We will begin our July Joplin School Board of Education meeting. Roll call, please, Mrs. Worsler.
David Baker.
Here.
Monica Sherritt. Present. Matt Robertson.
Here.
Donnie Greenlee.
Present.
Maria Schroeder.
Present.
John Murray.
Here.
Ryan Hartley.
Here. If you would, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented, please. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Weaver, a second by Ms. Schroeder to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Board President's report. Celebrations. This evening we have a light group of celebrations, but a mighty one. We'll get started with the Missouri Southern football players. We are grateful for more big-hearted helpers in our community. Please help us thank these members of the Missouri Southern football team for sprucing up the handrails at the Roy S. Wood campus with a fresh coat of eagle red. I was there for that. I think that they hadn't been painted in quite some time, so it didn't take much to make those handrails look much better. Hope City Church. A big shout out to these cheerful and skillful volunteers from Hope City Church who recently worked at Soaring Heights Elementary. Their crew added several new play spaces on the playground blacktop using bright paint and plenty of imagination. James River Church. Our friends over at James River Church stopped by Joplin High School recently to work on beautification projects for this coming school year as part of their Project Partnership Initiative. We are so thankful for these folks and their hearts for supporting our students and staff in whatever ways they can dream up. It was so nice having you on campus, and we cannot wait for our Eagles to see the fruits and flowers of your efforts. Sparklight. We are thankful for our friends at Sparklight for their donation and support of the Peer Buddies in Joplin schools. The Peer Buddies program pairs students with special needs with general education students to foster relationships outside of the classroom. Joplin High School teacher and Peer Buddy sponsor Julie McCain shared her gratitude for this generous donation due to the ways it will help provide more opportunities for students in the Peer Buddies program to build friendships past the classroom. The partnership with Sparklight will also support students' needs to ensure they have the best educational experience they can at Joplin High School. Thank you. Joplin Schools is so very grateful for the wonderful support that has been shown to our students and staff over this past month. Superintendent's report. Strategic focus, Dr. Saketa.
Okay, every year we go through a planning process with our principals and our leadership team. We had a leadership retreat earlier in the month, and then also we brought these proposed changes to the strategic plan to the Board of Education at a work session for review. And this year, moving forward, we would like to clean up a little bit of the language. We're proposing later on in the regular session, the action item will come in full view. And it's important as we continue to try to keep our accreditation, make sure that we are an employer of choice in the area. We continue to improve the quality of our education as we refine the things that we do. And that we, in our operations department, we do everything we can to support the classroom as well as communicate effectively throughout the community and with our stakeholders, especially inside as well. So later on in the meeting, we're going to ask that the Board of Education refine the language in Strategic Focus 1.1 and include pre-kindergarten in the K-12 language that we've been using in both the math and English goals. We're also going to ask that we include in Strategic Focus 1.2 one of the goals that was in Strategic Focus 3, which is the district will regularly provide students engaging learning experiences beyond core academics that address life skills, workforce development, health, wellness, and college and career readiness. We think that goal fits better in the academic focus area because of some of the things that we're going to capture this next year when it comes to measuring the goal. Also, in strategic focus 1.4, we're asking to put the term pre-K in the K to 12 curriculum reviewed annually, which it already has been in the past. So these pre-K designations are things that's just calling to task what we're already doing in the district. Strategic focus 2.2, the district will annually assess local public education salary and benefit packages to stay competitive in the area. That's very important, and we do that anyway, and we want to use the term annually because that's part of our plan to keep us as a district of choice. Strategic focus 3.2 would move the goal from 3.3.2 to the district will grow community partnerships with local businesses and organizations to support student and staff engagement and success. One of the things we're going to continue to do is improve our outreach in the community, and I know the high school is really on that right now with career academies. That's very important as they're going through their process to move forward. So those are the changes that we're proposing to be adopted later in the meeting.
You have to answer it in front of all of us.
Yes. Okay, so it would be Shelley's turn for health and dental.
Okay. We ended fiscal year 2024 with total expenses in our health and dental fund of $7,735,000, which was about almost 95% of our budget. We did receive a prescription rebate in the amount of $236,480, which helped us stay under budget. I did want to just kind of give some details for the year on our health fund. Overall, we decreased $620,502. Our medical claims compared to last fiscal year were $128,843 less than last fiscal year, but our prescription claims were $484,000 higher. Our reinsurance and admin fees increased $113,500 over last year. And between the two fiscal years, the last two fiscal years, our health fund has declined $1.1 million. But Jamie's here to talk to us about how we're still in good shape. So I just want to give those details. Any questions on the health fund? Okay, we'll move on to financial statement. We're bringing tonight the financial statements for last fiscal year. We do know there will probably be a couple of adjustments. We're still kind of tweaking out all of the recoding and things that we have to do for transportation, food service, and other things. But overall, the total balances shouldn't change too much. On the revenue, we were actually received $724,000 more than what was budgeted. Our expenditures were about 9% below what we thought. Some of that has to do with the ESSER funding that's coming in that we had budgeted, but we kept our prior expenses in there, knowing that those ESSER funds were one-time funds that were coming in. And we still ended the year in a very good financial position. Staff worked hard to keep unnecessary expenditures from happening and kind of watching budgets, and that helped overall as well. A few of the grants that we had projected maybe were not in those expenditures that we had budgeted for, and those are going to carry over into this fiscal year. Some of those are like the cybersecurity grant work. Not all of that has been paid for. We also have $34,000, I think it's $931 or something like that on Dover Hill that we have been holding out, waiting for some corrections on the lighting there. So that will be one of my first budget adjustments that we'll bring in October because we were not able to get that paid by the end of June. We did have $80 million invested with MOSIP, and our liquidity, we ended with a fund balance of $58,845,000 in our general fund. Are there any questions on financials?
Looks good.
Thank you. Public comments, Ms. Horsler.
No, no.
I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Hurd, a second by Ms. Schroeder to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Regular accounts payable, Ms. Toft.
The bill list for tonight is $11,727,167. And compared to a year ago, it was $7,399,356. And that big difference is the June payroll was in this bill cycle where a year ago it had missed that cutoff, so.
Move for approval of our accounts payable.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Sherrick, a second by Mr. Weaver to approve our accounts payable. Any further discussion on this item? Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Health plan, Mr. Crawford.
So we're going to ask Brock Compton and Jamie Brummett, our broker, to come forward, and Jamie's going to present to you. Brock is the president of our HVAC committee, and we're going to talk to you about the recommendations we have for our health plan changes.
Okay. Well, hi, everybody. Good to see you. Well, first of all, I'm sorry that Shelley scared you, and I loved how she was like, well, it's going down, it's declining, and Jamie's going to talk about it. So they're like, okay. Just to remind you guys, though, that is what we wanted to happen. Just if we go back 6 years ago, your fund was way overfunded, your health plan fund, so we did need to get that down some. So I do want to remind everybody that was always part of the intention with the way everything was structured, was to get it to a level that it's a good level, that it'll cover your claims. You really need to have about 25% cushion over expected claims for the year. And so with you guys having $3.1 million, when we expect 6.8 million claims in a year, you have more than enough in your fund. So I just want to kind of tack that onto what Shelley said. But what I'm going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the plan year 2024. So the health plan renews October 1st. We go out to officially market the health plan every 3 years. So we're going to talk about today's, just go over the claims a little bit, talk about your stop loss renewal, the marketing responses that we received, and what we have recommended for the upcoming year. We did meet with the Health Plan Advisory Committee, and so, Brock's here if you guys have any questions about the feedback from the advisory committee. Okay? So if we go to the next slide, this just shows you multi-years, the paid claims, what the stop loss carrier expected your claims to be that year, and what the maximum liability was for that year. So you can see things stayed 5.29 in 2019, 6.3 in 2020 and 2021, 6.8 in 22, and an estimate of 6.9 for 23 plan year. Now we do have more people on the plan now, so that is part of it. So we're running above expected, but less than the maximum claim exposure. What is contributing to that for this year, we have 9 members with claims over $100,000. None of those members have hit stop loss yet, which is $250,000. So that's a huge bulk of claims to have 9 people with claims that large. The other very concerning thing we have right now is that pharmacy makes up 50% of your total medical spend. So that's big. A few years ago, we would see pharmacy around 20%. With the increase in specialty medications and additional medications that are new to market, we're seeing that creep up around the 30 to 35 for the majority of clients. You guys are an outlier at 50%. Those 9 high-cost members, most of those are high-cost specialty medications. So one of the things we really needed to get to with the marketing was a way to get the pharmacy spend under control. So that is part of what we evaluated when we looked at things
And that's
this
been the
year.
topic of most of our committee meetings all year, was watching this rise in our prescription, especially prescription pharmacies, and trying to find plans. We made some plan adjustments the year prior also to try to adjust this. And so it's just an area of concern that we've been watching, but we think we have a good answer for that going forward.
What is normal for pharmacy claims?
So normal a few years ago was about 20. Normal now is in the 30 to 35% range, just because there are so many specialty medications and the cost of those medications. So you guys at 50 is very.
And the way I understand it, and I'll let Jamie clarify because she's the expert, is that a lot of treatments are changing to where it might have been with the doctor in hospital, it's now changing to just a prescription medication that's very expensive. Primarily, a lot of those are cancer
So
related.
some of these are cancer medications.
That was going to be my next question.
So, yeah.
How much of the 50% is made up of the 9 over $100,000?
Majority of the 9 over 100,000 are that 50%. But there are, some of them are cancer medications, but it's become, so things like Skyrizi and Stelara, those medications are $23,000 for one script. So those are very expensive medications, and they do treat medical conditions. So I just want that to be said, we're not going to not allow medications or discontinue any of that. That is not what we're doing here. But there are very expensive medications that are hitting the plan. Okay. All right, so on the next slide, we just to talk about the stop loss. So stop loss is one of the things we market and purchase each year. As Shelley mentioned, last year there was an increase because of the high cost claimants. With the changes we've recommended and with looking at the overall claims being down, when you look at the total population, not just the high cost claimants, we actually got a slight decrease on stop loss this year, right? So our maximum liability went down. The fixed cost went up a little bit, but we have a decrease in admin fees that more than covers that little bit of increase there. But overall, it was a decrease for stop loss this year. Right? So now the thing that really matters. So the health plan marketing, what everybody really cares about. So we went out to market to UMR, your current vendor, which is a segment of United Healthcare, and to Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. UMR did lower their administrative fee and also increased what's called pharmacy rebates. So Shelley shared with you during financials, we just got a quarterly rebate check. Those rebates are calculated based on a number they guarantee us per script and the number of prescriptions that are filled in that quarter. So they did increase their rebates. So that would have saved the district about $253,000 in the upcoming plan year. Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield is an estimated $939,000 savings for the next year. That goes up to 1.5 the year after and almost 2.5 the year after that. The reason why they're decreasing the admin fee, there is a decrease in pharmacy cost. The actual cost of their medications is lower than the same medications with UMR. And there are increased pharmacy rebates, dramatically increased pharmacy rebates that will help to offset the cost of those specialty medications. Anthem Blue Cross has a comparable network. So their network here is both hospital systems, the same that United Healthcare is. And the discounts are around the same, okay? They can't give us their exact discounts. They actually project around $300,000 in savings over the United network discounts. But that is an estimate, that's not an actual number. In addition, if you move to Anthem, they're going to provide you a wellness fund of $65,000 per year. So we would be able to roll out the Anthem wellness program that's completely web-based. Nothing that has to be done by the district. It's all completely managed by Anthem. And they're giving us $65,000 per year to fund the rewards and incentives that employees and spouses will be able to earn in that program.
Do we have a wellness program now?
You do not currently have a wellness program.
We do some small things. For instance, Brock started with Corporate Challenge this year, which was something that we added. Brock, you might speak to that, but we don't have a comprehensive wellness program here. That's something that we've been looking at wanting to develop and looking for funds for. And I believe, Jamie, when we told them that we were interested in doing that, they added money to that wellness.
Right, they
All
put
the
even
reason-
more in there.
They put more in there knowing we were looking at building that and trying to add something on. All the research says wellness programs have a return on investment. It's just a matter of how far out that goes. It may take 5 years to get that return on the investment, but they saw the benefit of it and added money to that for us if we switch to the plan.
And you get their wellness program, and it's a web-based, you can do online health coaching, and employees earn dollars. So the employees and their spouses earn rewards. So if you go get your annual physical, you get $25. If you go and get your blood work, you get $25. And then you cash those rewards in for gift cards to Amazon, things like that. And again, it's all managed through Anthem, so it doesn't have to go into Shelley's world of taxing and the finance side. But your funds, so they estimated on a district your size for employees and spouses, it'll be about $28,000. So that remaining almost $40,000 the district can use for other wellness programs, other things that they want to fund within the district. So we've used, UMR's given us a $10,000 one each year. We used to pay for flu shots. So you can still use the money to pay for flu shots, but other programs, there will be extra cash there to pay for other programs as well.
So Jamie, you don't have it here, I think you mentioned it though, you said the first year is $939,000 savings, but you said year 2 is,
About 1.5 million,
and year 3.
and year 3 is about 2.5 million.
And John, that's if claims stay the same. So those are just projected numbers on our current claims and their projections. So that's not guaranteed savings.
It's not guaranteed savings. That's calculated based on those rebates. So they tell us, hey, we're going to give you X amount of dollars per specialty medication filled.
Yeah.
So they estimate based on how you've been growing over the last several years, where you're going to grow in the next few years, plus that guaranteed rebate amount. And they calculate that number out for us so we have an idea of the savings.
So if that comes close to realization, that's like a 25% increase or
Phenomenal.
decrease over our current spend rate right now.
That's
Which
correct.
that's phenomenal, it's great.
That's,
Okay, thank you.
yes, sir.
So the administration recommends that the Board of Education change our current provider from UMR to Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield and maintain the plan design as it is without increasing. And this is the other point that we were going to recommend. The committee's recommendation was not to increase premiums to employees as documented in the attachment, which is the PowerPoint.
I have a question for Mr. Compton.
Yep.
You serve on the committee that kind of worked with all of this. What was the committee's feelings on this?
So it was unanimous when we voted. Everybody felt that it was what was going to be best for the district, our fund, and as far as coverage for everybody and all their employees and spouses, kids, we felt it was the best thing we could do for everybody.
The 3 items on the screen were all unanimously approved by the committee.
Are we losing anything by going to Anthem?
No, by moving to Anthem, you don't lose anything. Now, there was one thing that we talked about there. There are 29 members out of the thousands of belly buttons, as we call them, on the plan. There were 29 that will have a change in their pharmacy, so a change in their medication. But those 29 members will receive a letter prior to October 1st notifying them that there is a formulary change. And that happens every year within Optum. So where they're currently at, there's formulary changes, and they get a letter that says, hey, the test strips you're currently using are no longer covered. So those were 29 members that would be negatively impacted. But otherwise, there is nothing else.
But
that
I
they're
want to add, that doesn't mean they're no longer covered. There's an alternative medication that would cover them. So they might say, this one's no longer available on this plan. Anthem covers this one. And they would have to switch medications, but there would be a medication to cover their diagnosis or condition, correct, Jane?
Correct. And then the only other thing that they would be losing, this is not related to the Anthem switch, but it's item number 3 on the agenda. And that is flexible spending accounts. So flexible spending accounts are pre-tax accounts. You have the health savings accounts. You can put money in those. You can change them at any point during the year. They roll over year to year. More and more employees of the district are using those. They're funded by the district partially. And then we have flexible spending accounts. There are less than 70 employees of the district enrolled in flexible spending accounts. Flexible spending account, during open enrollment, you elect how much you will have. It's a use it or lose it account. You submit receipts. The last several years, this has become a big burden, actually, on the district because members are not submitting their receipts. And when they don't submit their receipts, but they use their debit card, it becomes an improper transaction. we have to reissue a new W-2. We have to correct the taxes for the entire district because of these individuals that are not completing their documentation with the FSAs. So the recommendation, again, to encourage people to use the health savings accounts, seeing that there is not a lot of participation for the cost and the work that goes into the flex, was to no longer offer flexible spending accounts beginning 10/1 as well.
So they have the alternative with the health savings account, and that also you can roll it over, it's portable.
That's
It's not a use it or lose it, it's easier to work with.
And you
I've
can-
seen that too, that the world
And
is
you
moving for
can, you
that.
can take it with you as well.
Yeah,
And there's additional administrative costs to the FSA as well. And then I do believe, Jamie, it's my understanding, the more people we have on the health savings account, the better the plan performs as well.
That's
And
correct.
we made some changes last year to the plan to try to make that accessible to more employees to help with the stability of the plan as well.
Thank you.
I make a motion that we accept the administration recommendation on health coverage.
We have a motion by Mr. Weaver, a second by Mr. Greenland to approve the health plan as presented. Any further comments on this item? Thank you all for your work, really appreciate everything. Please vote.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Yes. Strategic plan revisions, Dr. Saketto.
Okay, as earlier during the superintendent's report, I outlined the changes that are being proposed to the strategic plan moving forward, essentially realigning two goals from strategic focus 3, communications, and aligning them in the proper areas what we believe moving forward for measurement and analysis, and then also adding the term pre-K to our curriculum and our instructional goals, which are already part of our system. So the administration would like to recommend these changes.
So the reason I asked to have that pulled out of the consent agenda and move to have some discussion is not the changes of moving the strategic focuses around. It's the addition of, I don't believe it's our responsibility as a district to provide pre-K education for our kids. There's a lot of talk about it now. Anything pre-kindergarten, I know that there are rules from federal dollars that we get that we're supposed to provide that service, and that's different, I believe, but I don't think expanding further down in 4-year-olds coming to school is good for our community and good for families. I know this will pass, without me saying anything about it, but I think we need to have a discussion. Well, we don't have to have a discussion now, but we need to think about the long-term consequences to the families, to the communities of pulling kids away from their parents sooner and putting them in public schools and the consequences that will have. And spending state resources and spending state funds or spending funds on those classrooms and those teachers when we could spend them on improving outcomes of our students that were required by law and where we've got in school right now to perform. I also think it's an unfair competition with the private sector. We're taking tax dollars from preschools and we're competing against them. And they've already got an uphill battle with having problems getting funding from reimbursements from the state now, and now we're going to start competing against them to take kids out of their clinics or their preschools and daycares to come to public schools, where we're not fighting that same battle they are, and I don't think that's a fair competition. So that's it. I think we needed to consider that before we make the expansion of pre-K. But I think the strategic focus should change. I still think we should expand further into pre-K.
I'll respond, actually. I made a few notes. I'm a little confused about your position now, since you voted in May to approve the new preschool teachers, pre-K teachers. Seems to be backpedaling a little bit from that.
And it might
But as far as the need for it goes, it's my understanding we currently have a waiting list of 100 kids on our pre-K roster. Is that accurate? Yes, over 100. There are 89 that have been screened, and then there's more that's bringing over 100 that are still waiting to be screened. I have to think that if there were spots out there in the world for them, that they would not be on our waiting list. And further, to demonstrate the need, we had to put in transitional kindergarten because our very own teachers are saying that our kids are not ready for kindergarten.
Yeah, Dr. Saketa said we had some kids come last year to kindergarten who still were not potty trained. And that's a huge community problem that still wouldn't be fixed by pre-K.
I don't think that's the only thing that makes them not ready for kindergarten, though, that transitional kindergarten fills.
Yeah.
So part of it is learning to be in a classroom with other kids. It is being able to socially adjust to other kids and teachers and learning to take direction in a classroom setting. And all of those are things that kids learn in preschool. Further, a lot of families cannot afford to send their kids to preschool, and a lot of families cannot afford to stay home with their children. We have a lot of single-parent families in our community. We have a lot of families that both parents need to be out of the home working in order to provide food for their family and shelter. So I think it's a luxury for you to be able to say that parents should just stay home with their kids. So I wholeheartedly disagree, and I'll leave it at that.
And it may be a luxury, but it's a sacrifice my family and other families chose to make.
And one that not all families can make.
And you're right, not all families, I agree. But I think more can and are choosing not to. And I think by enabling them to send their kids to public schools earlier is worse on the family and worse on the community long term than making that decision. They can have themselves or a family member stay home and focus on raising their kids for that very short season of life when you decide to have kids and getting them into school, that short season.
Out of curiosity, have you talked to any of our kindergarten teachers about whether they prefer their kindergartners to have preschool?
I have. I had talked to them about, no, I've not asked that specific question, no.
It's interesting. I think most of them, if not all, would say they would prefer their kids to go to preschool.
Of course they would. I mean, you have a better student that comes out of that, but also, I should have brought the report, I can't remember where I found it, but the study that showed that the advantages that they have coming out of preschool, you can't tell the difference by third grade if a student has gone through preschool or has not gone through preschool. I'll have to find it, I'll share it when I find it. I'm more concerned about the trade-off that we've got in the community and the damage to the family that's going to happen from it. Because the Chamber of Commerce is pushing for more early childhood. In the last presidential debate, they talked more about early childhood. So we're pushing to pull kids away from their families earlier and earlier. And maybe we're doing that too soon. That's maybe part of the cause of our discipline issues we're having in middle and junior high school. Middle and high school.
I'm going to say one thing regarding education. I don't believe that at any time we can say education is harmful and will hurt our students. And the best thing that we can do for our students is to provide a quality education and to prepare them as they enter school and as they continue in each grade so that they are able to graduate with the skills that they need to be successful members of our community. And we, as a public school district, yes, I say public school district, we take all students. We don't require that parents bring their kids to preschool or enroll their kids in preschool. We are saying with these changes that Dr. Sketa mentioned that since we are already offering preschool and through our early childhood program, our strategic plan needs to reflect that. And that's so that we can measure those results. That's what this implies. This is not a moratorium or a statement about harming families or anything else. We are expressing the importance of education, pre-K through 12th grade and beyond, for all students in the Joplin community.
I move for approval of the strategic plan.
Second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Sherrick, a second by Mr. Greenlee, to approve the strategic plan revisions. Any further comments on this item?
Just the only comment I would make is I think it's all good dialogue. It's all good points. I've been a parent for over 30 years, and the one thing I did realize with my 4 daughters is if they did not embrace reading at an early age to make that part of their DNA, school was very difficult. There was a reason when I first joined the board that I was on the data committee. What I was really focusing on, and the great work that Sarah and her team does, is on, are we reaching the kids early? Are we teaching them to read? Are we pushing, if we introduced the phonics and expanded that and standardized the curriculum? I have a belief, and I still do, that early stickiness of kids' desire to learn, ability to learn, willingness to learn, if they understand what they're reading, they're going to embrace that further. When this first came up, and remember that I'm fiscally conservative, we have funding that came from the state on this to help support it. We're not adding any new buildings, any new classrooms at this point in time. I do get concerned that if we add these and it grows, can we fiscally afford it down the road? I don't know, but it's being supported right now from the state, and I'm more than willing to support. Let's try it and let's see. It's also a freedom of choice. And so, Matthew, I don't think you're wrong. Veronica, I don't think you're wrong. Laura, I don't think you're wrong. I think you're all right. But it is a freedom of choice. And for those parents out there that realize that their kids are a little behind and want to get into a program like this, your choice is to get into these programs. I know I have 4 daughters, and I know my wife and I taught them all the same thing, and I know that I have 4 very different results. They all absorb and learn things at a different pace. One of them that I had, I would have loved to have had in a program like this because that was her issue. She couldn't figure out how to read at an early age, and her interest in school was far less than the other 3. And so that's just my only comment on it. Again, I think very good dialogue, all very good valid points. That's it, so thank you.
Well, one thing I would like to say, is that we do have at least 4 private schools in our community that offer preschool programs as well. So when we're talking about other entities that are not public schools, they do also see the need to offer that opportunity for their students. So I want the board to be aware of where we're at when it comes to schools in the community that reside in the Joplin School District.
I was just going to say, John, I appreciate your comments and agree with almost everything you said. The one exception would be preschool is not for kids who are behind alone.
Fair,
It is for
good
kids
clarification, yes.
who don't want to be behind.
I agree, yeah, good clarification.
So.
Anything else? I was just in with, as a point of clarification, we are adding this to measure what we're already doing in Joplin Early Childhood Center and have done for many years there. So this is really a reflection and a revision of what is already occurring, and we're verbalizing that. So we're not making a new policy statement here. We're really just verbalizing the good work that we're already doing. Please vote.
Yes?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion passes 6-1. Joplin High School Band Asphalt Practice Field, Dr. Harding.
Yes, now I have Dave Pettit come up. So ever since Joplin High School was built, we've always tried to provide the best services for all of our students and the best access for our students. Band used to travel to the practice football field every day to practice. That's one way to go. There's a lot of equipment they are using. They have transitioned to the space just outside of the PAC. That in itself provides problems because you're talking about striping it. You're hoping the grass doesn't die off. They practice a lot of times in the morning where it's dewy, and so those kids have to go out there in wet shoes and come into school in wet shoes. And so we had been looking for kind of a viable option for them for a couple of years to see what we could do as a surface, and we researched many things. One of those ideas is to create an asphalt surface. We thought was the best idea because we could permanently stripe it as a football field. So they could go out there anytime, day or night. They're going to have a good, dry surface to practice on. They're not going to have to guess where the lines are at if it fades or rains. And it'll provide them a good surface. Additionally, we also had a need for additional parking on this side of the building. And so by using that surface, we are also able to open up parking space, whether it's graduation or whether it's a big performance here at the PAC. We could open that up for people that would like to be closer to the building to gain access to the PAC or the gym for graduation. So, Dave, is there anything else to add?
Well, let me just tell you, first of all, I am so thankful to work at a district whose board realizes that we need to take care of our facilities and you all have given us a healthy capital outlay budget to work with, but by golly, I don't know that I've ever had in my 31 years as busy a summer as we have had this year. That being said, let's add something to that. I have good news for you. I don't often get to say that to you. We are working on negotiating the price that was given to you by the single bidder that we got of $280,235. We are working currently with negotiation with the city and getting adjustments made to some of the qualifiers that we needed to do to get city compliance. And so do not hold me to this number, but I truthfully believe that we're going to be able to reduce that by about $50,000. And so I will bring that to you hopefully at the next meeting. The numbers didn't quite get put together today, but I'm going to ask that you adopt the $280,235 bid with the thought that I will be bringing to you a much reduced price at the next board meeting.
And I will add two things. The space is just straight outside the PAC, so the kids literally just have to walk out the front doors to their practice area. The second piece of that, there was an original design for there to be a parking space out there, or possibly a practice area. And so we had to utilize Chad Greer and Owned Engineering to redesign that whole space and really do the best we could with the space we had available to provide the best space we could for the kids. And so it'll be much more convenient for them. It'll be much more cost effective in the end for us.
Mr. Pettit, in the motion, would it be appropriate to approve up to not to exceed $282,000 so that we use some room open?
Yes, I think that would be a definite way to cover that. I don't see that needing to reach that amount, but if you want to make that as not to exceed, and that I will bring you a reduced updated price.
I would make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Weaver, a second by Mrs. Sherrick, to approve the Joplin High School band asphalt practice field for $280,235 and not to exceed that amount.
I've got another question for Dr. Harding. You referenced striping. Is it the size of a football field, or really where I'm going is that going to be big enough for what we need if the band grows in the future? Are we going to have a big enough facility for the band? Let's say they double, triple, get back to the size back when I was in school, there were 100 plus members. Or is it going to be too small for band growth?
We took the input of the band director instruction. The field actually will be marked and laid out to go from 20-yard line to 20-yard line, and it is the full width. So it's the same size other than essentially the end zone areas, and so it should be sufficient. What we're giving them practice on is essentially the same thing they will be performing on.
Right. For the area they perform on, that's what I was.
Right. So traditionally the band, you will not see them perform in the end zones. Traditionally they'll stay within because most of the judges sit on the 50-yard line, so they're keeping in that space. And so that's why we got Own Engineering and Chad to kind of develop what that would look like to make sure we maximized as much space as we could out there.
Perfect.
I have a question related to runoff. Will any runoff from that additional asphalt go into the wetlands area out there?
I can assure you that we worked that out with the city, and yes, the runoff from that is an impervious asphalt that we'll be doing is accounted for the existing drainage retention pond that we have, yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you.
Dave, when do you think this is going to be actually done?
The contract date of completion is October 5.
Okay, so we're not going to start it just as school starts, though. Was really what I was gearing towards, because that first couple days of school is
As soon as you all
tough.
approve, I'm hoping that we'll be able to mobilize. The band department has been informed that we will be behind. During this time, they will either have to use an alternate area or the field facility over here. We will push to get that done as quickly as possible.
Yes, I would just recommend use your best judgment to try to avoid those first couple days of school. That's usually pretty hectic as it is, and have all that asphalt equipment, heavy trucks in there at the same time probably isn't the best first foot forward for the school year.
Yes, I would agree with you, and we'll Probably what we'll do is try to give them an alternate entry on site using the PAC access road.
Okay, thank you.
Since it won't be ready to use this season, do we want to wait and push it back further into the school year so they can still use that space to practice on and that it doesn't interfere with first day of school traffic?
I would rather see them start. I can certainly talk to the contractor about keeping them from working those couple of days, but by doing that and getting it completed this fall, because once we get into, if we waited until the end of the season, it would be too cold for the asphalt companies to run. So
Okay.
we're trying, due to some delays with working with the city and getting the licensing and everything we need, put us behind where we had planned to be. So
The city
we're
keeps
trying.
slowing us down, don't they?
Well, they're giving us some challenges, but I will say that Chad and Own Engineering both went to bat for us in helping negotiate with the city to make sure that we got that done. And Chad was a big part of helping us get that reduced price.
Anything else? Please vote.
Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Meal prices, Dr. Harding.
Yes, this has probably been the most interesting over the last 4 years of the food nutrition department. You have COVID and you go from federal and state dollars and free meals to now that funding slowly being pulled away and then having to navigate, moving forward with those meal prices. And so Rick and Tina are up here to kind of discuss that and clarify a little more and discuss what our proposal will be for next year.
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing us to come and speak. It's been a challenge for, I think, every household seeing grocery prices go up, and I'm a firm believer that I've always tried to hold the price increases to nickels and dimes, not 15 cents or a quarters. So it's challenging with milk prices over the last 3 to 4 years going up 10 cents a carton, and that is one of the required components on the offer versus serve menu plan that we have. So with that, I think we have carrots, have gone up, or just groceries in general. Paid lunch equity. The federal government has a paid lunch equity policy that we actually should have our lunch prices at $3.85. So $2.60 is well below that if you look at our high school price at $2.60. So in general, that's because of our free and reduced participation that we can keep that low. I would encourage, any family, we do have a free and reduced lunch program to apply for free and reduced meals, if the $1.25 increase over a week's time is unbearable or very challenging for them. Again, the free and reduced lunch program would offer rebates and or free.
Should parents who think they don't qualify for that still fill it out? Because there's data that we get off that helps us with other things.
Absolutely. Right? Any application will definitely process. Sometimes it's just a matter of dollars that, they do qualify or they don't qualify. So those are the ones that are within dollars over a course of a week or a month is challenging to deny. But, yes, I would definitely encourage anybody and everybody to fill out the free and reduced lunch form. It doesn't only benefit their individual family, it benefits the school district. Sarah and Dr. Dickey would have to be able to speak to this, but I do believe it's anywhere from about $1,200 to $1,500 a year we receive in Title I funding for the number of free and reduced families we have, students we have on the paper books.
Well, I can certainly appreciate the hard work that goes into this, and it's a testament to really the long-term leadership within our food service. And so thank you all for keeping our prices low and affordable. And although we never like to raise prices, as we've said over the years, right? Unfortunately, we're a byproduct of our society and our economy. And this is just another part of that. So I just want to say thank you for what you do on all of our, in terms of elementary, middle, high school, serving all of our students. So those are big positives as we go into this next year, and we know that that will continue to happen.
Yeah, Rick, the other thing I would comment on is, the grocery distribution business is one of the businesses I've been in, and it is true, everything is up 30, 40, 50%. And what you're proposing here as an increase is nowhere close to that. So you guys are doing a really good job on that, and this cost, although it's going up, it does not line up with what everybody is facing at the grocery store. So that does speak to the work you guys are doing, and I'm glad it's as minimal as it is. You guys did a good job on that.
Thank you.
I would echo our appreciation for your work with Joplin Schools. You've been a leader for us for many years. How many years have you been with us now?
This 26.
Wow, and a leader not just in Joplin Schools, but in the region. We've been very fortunate to have you, so appreciative of all that you've done and for our children. And I just want to express my personal appreciation and thank you.
Thank you.
Well said, David. I would make a motion to approve the schedule increase as outlined by Rick and Matt on this one. Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Hurd, a second by Mr. Greenlee to approve the meal prices as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Yes. I would entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion by Ms. Schroeder, a second by Mr. Robertson to adjourn. Any further discussion? Please vote.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Yes, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.